Hello again, this is a Patreon sketch video that I recorded quickly and uploaded. This video is based on Patreon sketches that I take monthly. Right now I'm unable to take regular commissions. Those are indefinitely unavailable because I'm doing all this other stuff. But I can take Patreon sketches if you're interested. Expect more of these in the future, along with commentary on the process for the artwork, because I don't really have enough art vlog videos, so this is a very good way to be able to explain the process on how I specifically paint without having to worry about making very intricate tutorials, even though I don't necessarily have time for them right now. Those will come eventually though. Now this sketch is based on an $8 pledge on Patreon. This is for Outlaw Quadrant. Thank you very much for supporting me. The sketch here is actually just a basic sketch with the brush tool using the black color, but I did play around with it. I would put shading on the sketch itself, similar to how I would mess around with the silhouettes when I plan out my drawings. And it can actually help you get very quick artwork if you don't have a lot of time to draw, but you just want to plan something out. Also, most of my sketches look like this. The reason I tend to go for this style when sketching rather than just very clean line art, I mean, I can make somewhat clean line art. In fact, that's like a $5 pledge for sketches as well. But for $8, I actually really enjoy making these particular sketches because it's much easier to clean, and it gives it depth without me having to like erase all my work just to start out with another layer. As if I can remember, I lost my train of thought. This is also a very good way to color afterwards if you mess around with the blending tools in the layers options. You can use options such as overlay and color dodge and multiply to help you lay out the color quickly. As you can see here, I really enjoy using overlay. It's nice and quick just to lay out whatever color I need. However, it's very dependent on how you lay out your values. If you use overlay on white, for example, you're not gonna get much when it comes to color, so you might have to darken out some areas. In the skin, it really depends what skin tone you're working with. If it's a light skinned character, then you're gonna have to pay attention to where the light source is, so the color that you're working with can be applied to specific areas that you shaded. In the lighter areas, unless it's too light, you may want to like add at least some grays, some very light grays in the light area of the skin to make sure the overlaid layer is working the way you need it to. For the $8 pledge, I usually work with one or two colors because I do color it in, just not as detailed, but I do add some color into it and play around with the shaded areas. Then what I would do is get a third layer, usually a third and fourth. I like to merge my layers, but at the beginning, what I usually do is have a third layer in case I still need to alter that color overlay layer. And in the third layer, I would put fine details in it, and if it starts getting to where I want it to be, I would merge everything and then have another layer and color it on top. That being said, you may want to be careful with the overlay option because again, it doesn't work on white. And if you merge your layers except the background, you're gonna come across a bit of issues. It might not merge the way you want it to. personally, what I prefer to do, there are different ways to go about this because there's different ways to color in Photoshop anyway. But what I found that works for me is that I would duplicate the background layer and then just have that background layer have the same shape as the artwork that I'm working with. I would merge those and then crop out the parts of the merged layers that I don't need. In this case, it would be the excess backgrounds that don't need to be there. And then I would just have another layer on top of everything again and go around and fix my artwork. Another reason that I would want to merge my layers as well is because I would need to trim off the edges of the character if I need to do some extra cleanup. And that's not going to work out if there are too many layers to work with. Sometimes it's best to work with as little layers as possible to be able to catch up with everything. Other times, obviously, it doesn't do you good if you have too little layers, and you may want to have a lot of layers and organize in for the sake of organizing. But when it comes to digital painting, the layers are not going to be as big of a deal if you don't use too much of them. So anyway, this will be it for this video. I apologize if the recording is a bit weird. I use Camtasia Studio 7, if I remember correctly, for recording. And whenever I save to AVI, it doesn't record the brush that I'm using. It would be very useful if I'm able to show that off. Then there's also the zooming in, zooming out issues that I would have to work with. But I will find a way around that. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.